What's up, family? It's your boy Ricky K, and welcome to My Stocks League podcast number 11. And today we have a very special guest, Mr. The Responsible Leader. His name is, I'll let you introduce yourself. How's that?
Tony Lopez, from the United States, born and raised in San Francisco, California, and moved down to Tulum last year where I met Ricky and the crew, and been having a fantastic experience with them, learning about stocks, mutually sharing our experiences, and making a few plays together.
So guys, so we met Tony, a few months back, actually last year. I think it's 2020 I met him. And, he's actually a very experienced trader. He's not I learned a lot of things from him myself. And today, me and T were talking, who should we have as a guest? And we're wondering how about Tony? Because, I think you'd provide a lot of value to our people, or our students, you can say, or members of My Stock Life, or anyone as a trader in general. I think you'll provide a lot of value today, give some valuable tips. So Tony, why don't you tell me, before we move further, just to let people know, how did your trading career start? Like, when did you start? How did it all come into? I mean, how did you get into
career? Well, I'm actually used to be a licensed financial advisor. I had the Series 7 and Series 66 license. I got that back in 2007. I started right out of college, and I was like, I'm here to make a lot of money. I don't know how I do it. And I saw financial services as being kind of my ticket. So although I wasn't like trading for my clients, I was really working with money managers that were doing the trading. My job was to find clients and put them into the right portfolios and the right strategies. So my education started through osmosis. Just being around it and being in an environment where it was always around the stock market, I kind of just picked it up as a sixth sense, and then jumped into it fully myself last year during COVID, and I started going just for myself.
I think that's when we met, and so you said 2007. The first thing that comes into my mind is the 2008 financial crash.
Yeah, that's right.
So how come you stayed and you didn't quit? Like, did you? Right at the beginning, you went through the biggest turbulence that we had, I think, in the last 2 decades. How was that?
Yeah, it was interesting because we went through a recession in the market. Yeah. We went through a recession in real estate. Mm-hmm. It was intense. And when I started my career, I was like broke because no one had any money. No one But I kind of found this niche, and I was like, all right, I'm going to start working with clients where their advisors weren't calling them during the market downturn. Mm-hmm. So I actually picked up the most amount of AUM during the recession.
Wow.
Because everyone was willing to talk to me, even though I was 22 years old.
Wow. At that, I was about, I think, 16 or 17 at that time. And I do remember now, that's the time I knew what the stock market was. That's when, in school, they have all these questions for math class. So I was like, it's something that I always wanted to do, something where there's a lot of money. I was never a job guy. So that crash, basically, I didn't know anything about the markets, but the big downturn happened. Right. My dad's work was slow. But that crash, one thing I learned, that things recovered. Even though it was a big dip, but things recovered. Right, so for me, that was the biggest thing. Because most people, when they face that dip, they end up selling and they're done for the life. Yeah. They don't stay in for long enough.
Right.
But I saw the recovery. So I think for me as a young guy, that was a really valuable lesson for myself.
Yeah.
And But Tony, our listeners, I think, obviously they want to learn some things from you. One of the main things that I learned from you ever since I met you was playing deep in the money calls. So when I met Tony back in December, January, the biggest options play I ever bought contract, it was MSTR, MicroStrategy, right? Yeah. When it was trading near 300. So Tony's buying calls valued at $68, right? Which is $6,800 per contract. And I'm asking myself, I'm like, that's expensive. I never usually go above 5, 6, 7. I'm like, 68. I'm like, nah, it's not something I want to buy. But then I was like, he knows what he's talking about, right? And MSTR at that time, like, you know what? I think I need to learn from this big boy because of all the experience he has. And I ended up buying MSTR at $68 per contract. And that ended up going up to about 300, which is like 30,000 per contract. I sold way early. I sold at 180, I think. But why do you buy such deep in the money calls? Like, now I have understood. But for our listeners, I'll let you explain. What's the benefit of that? I mean, why do you buy such deep in the money contracts?
Well, at the time, it was a little bit out of like ignorance, honestly, because it was like I didn't want to be so far out of the money where I was taking a huge significant risk because $6,800 is $6,800. So
money.
I'd rather get it like right around the money, and then if at that time if Bitcoin does what I think it's gonna do, then at least I'm mitigating my downside risk with if it goes up and it does what I think I'm gonna do, I'm still gonna be okay. Like I'm gonna win.
But how did you catch that right at the? I mean, so this MSTR is mainly it's all Bitcoin. If Bitcoin goes up, MSTR goes up. It goes down, MSTR goes down. How did you catch that squeeze on it? Like how you ended up holding your contracts for much longer than me.
Yeah.
How did you know that from 300 went to 500? It was just going to continue going up. What gave you that mindset? I mean,
two things. Well, first we bought the dip, and we bought the dip on it because an analyst from I forget which bank.
Well, you know a lot, so yeah.
Analyst said that MSTR is too much risk on their books by buying Bitcoin, and there was a 10% correction that day, and Bitcoin hadn't done anything. It was just 10% down that day because of an analyst's perspective.
Comments, okay.
So I'm like, fuck, like this is an opportunity. So. Within that week, we bought the calls.
Yeah.
Now we started doing well. Like I think you're up 300% within 2 months. Something like that. I remember.
That was up huge. I mean, because the gains are in bulk, right? So that's $6,800 for one contract. I sold them at 180, which is $18,000.
Yeah.
And that opened up my mind playing deep, like leaps, like in the money.
Yeah.
So recently in Discord, a lot of people know I play a lot of leaps in the money now because of you, and I want to thank you because it has. Grown my accounts. Like Nvidia, I bought 2023 called at $70, which are at 215 right now.
Woohoo!
Right? Yeah. Baba, I'm loaded with leaps in 2023.
Nice.
Even though Baba didn't move, but the value held, and now they're going up, so it looks great. And but yeah, thank you for that. I mean, if you have big accounts, you guys definitely want to look into some deep in the money calls and how to play them, right? And Tony, another thing I want to ask as a trader. Sometimes, because you have so much experience in this, how do you control your emotions sometimes? Let's say you're in with 100K in a trade. Now, something that you really like, and you already just bought it, let's say 1 day ago. But then someone like Peter or Warren Buffett comes and says, I don't like this, we're selling this. Mm-hmm. How do you decide what to do, even though your decision was not based on his, but like, your own, that you're buying it based on your own research? Now there's a bias that one good and the market said I'm selling, but then you have. Now how do you come to a decision?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's really tough. Sometimes I get stuck myself. So how do you overcome that? I mean, do you hold, sell, or what do you think?
I mean, I think the most important thing is know yourself. Like that emotional intelligence, that self-awareness of who I am, and I'm fucking stubborn. I don't care if I got like Peter Thiel, Warren Buffett, and whoever else on the other side of the table telling me that this trade is ridiculous. I'm going to be too stubborn and stay in it. I know myself. Okay. So
you
like,
believe in yourself. I mean, you do your work before buying, which gives you the confidence.
And there's also, I do believe that the thing is trusting myself. Okay. So I got to trust my trades. There's a reason why I felt like this was a good trade, and doing my best not to forget about that, because if I am holding 6 months or 3 months, this call, there's going to be a roller coaster in there in between.
Definitely. A lot of turbulence, obviously.
So it's going back into like figuring out, remembering why I bought this. And it's an integrity conversation. So when I hold a trade, I'm maintaining the integrity that I had with myself because I believe this is going to go up or down if I'm buying a put for a reason. So I'm choosing to hold it because if I sell it, I'm out of integrity with myself.
Because many times what I realized about myself, before when I was I think before last year, I used to look at comments which were made in the market by other analysts or something, and then I would sell my positions, and then I would see that it didn't even do what the guy said. In fact, I was right. So now, whatever decisions I make in trading, anything I buy, sell, is 99% based on my own self. If somebody does have a comment in the market and it matches in the same direction as me, it's basically for me a double confirmation.
Yeah.
But I think as a trader, so basically we should always make our own decisions, right? I mean, if you blind follow the market or people, you're not gonna make it because that means you just don't know enough about the markets that you're trading.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the risk and being open to being wrong too is important, and like acknowledging that, hey, I fucked up on this one. Like, was this out of ego or was this out of like intuition? Was this out of fear? I've made after MSTR, that was a huge trade for me. I had more than one option contract on that, and it ran up pretty significantly. I mean, talk about emotions, cockiness, and not being humble, and like getting away from myself on a fact where like I was like, I'm really good. It doesn't matter. Like I'm gonna. The market's I'm gonna make even the market's not gonna go up. I'm gonna make it go up. That's how like in denial I was at one point.
In Discord, I usually say if you hit a big trade, don't act like the big guy in the house. The market teaches you that lesson. Right?
Oh, it spanked me.
And then in February, March, April, the 3 months were very tough for trading.
Yeah.
All the new kids or the new traders that made money in the 2020 run up, people that took their 10K to 50K plus, they gave it all back in February and March. It just took 2 months.
Yeah.
Now, in those 3 months, I mean, we're experienced, so I'm pretty sure you managed. I managed myself. I give a little bit back to the market, obviously. Now, in your entire life career, I mean, ever since you've been trading, what's the biggest thing that you learned as a trader? Like, what was the one thing that you're very thankful that has helped you, like, over the years? Something, for me, there are many things that took me like 5-6 years to learn.
Yeah.
Right? How about you? What was that one thing that you learned as a trader? I mean, that you think...
Thank you for asking that question. Thank you for asking that question, because it's about how am I receiving these transactions. So what I mean by that is the attitude I'm holding as a trader. Am I being grateful? When I place a trade and it goes up and it does well, am I like a spoiled brat and saying, give me more, give me more, give me more? Or I want more, right? This like greed. Yeah. Or am I being that grateful child that says, hey, like, thank you. And that's that I'm happy with what I have. Like, if I get more, thank you. I appreciate that.
So you manage that trade basically, or you scale out at the right times. Right? Or
let me think about that. I mean, that's the technical side of it, right? That's like a technical, but I guess on the emotional side is the attitude.
That's the attitude.
What's the attitude? And then the attitude is going to dictate the action, like scaling.
It is. Now, last month, just recently, a lot of guys in our group bought Viacom. So just based on that, just an example.
Yeah.
So they had two separate positions. One of them is a student of mine. He's very good on learning. He's new, a few months old. Now he had so the first contract went to zero. I mean, Viacom did not make the move, but he was also holding another layer in July 16 calls for 2 weeks out. Now, as those contracts were down as well. So when they came back to his break-even price, he did not. I don't think he looked at technicals, nothing. He just sold out of fear. He hated the stock. That my first contract went to zero. Second one, oh, it's break-even. Let me just take this out too. But had he held, those went to almost 200% the same day, right? So sometimes, I mean, as a trader, if your position in a stock goes down to 0 for once, that does not mean you hit the stock. You forget and move on, basically, right? And in future, you cannot compare it to the past performance, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at that. You know, like, what's the attitude of a trader? I'm not, like, I've placed trades like that in my past, so I'm not going to single out this trader.
Well, of course.
But the first call, right, it sounds like they used a laddered call, right? They laddered the dates. And on the first one, they missed. They hit zero. Right?
Yep.
So what are natural emotions of a trader that they're going to experience? One is scarcity, right?
Yeah,
Natural,
for sure. Yeah.
right? Like it's scarce, like I've lost.
Mhm.
So now I'm going to want to take what I have. So next week I broke even. I got it all back. That's a decision that I'm sure you've made. I know I've made
Many times in my life.
out of
Many
scarcity.
times.
So if my attitude is to be scarce, I'm gonna have scarce rate of returns of not having enough and thus be negative or even wipe out my account. So I think the attitude there is being abundant and just like being and patience, right? Like
patience is
trading
like
abundance.
Patience is must. Because if you're trading options, you need to understand, like for our listeners, if you're buying an option from $1, it can go to 10 cents, or from 10 cents, it can also go to $10. In options, anything is possible.
Yeah.
I personally don't put any stop losses on options on trading. For me, if I start at zero, it's a hit as long as I'm up overall net.
I love that attitude.
Right. I mean that
you're all in on your trades.
That's it, because I know my trades. When I hit them, out of 5 trades, I know I'm gonna hit 3 at least with a 100% average. So that leaves me with 20% net over on my overall position entry that I put in, right? What's one of the biggest mistakes that you used to make, right, that you no longer make, that has helped you grow your account?
Yeah, it's being like making sure I'm having fun. Like I gotta when I'm trading, I need to make sure that I'm having fun. Like it's truly a game. And then like it can be very unaware. It can very all of a sudden become serious, right? Like it's serious. Like money is serious, and like trading, I'm a trader. Like it's serious, right? Like I don't excel. I just don't do well. I don't like look at my track record. Like it's not there. My results are not there when it's serious. But when it's fun and it's a game and I'm coming to my stock life, I'm here with my teammates and we're going in on trades together and we're coming from like like that's my true north is, am I having fun? And if I'm not at that like vibration, if I'm not like in this playful state, I gotta scale back. I'm not making new trades. I got to be more in a cash position. I got to find my center, because my center is fun. My center is we're in this together.
It helps you basically make better decisions, I guess, because I know a few weeks ago you took a little break because what happened? Why? I mean, you stepped back a little bit. Like I remember.
Yeah, it's because things got serious. And what was interesting is that I was making I had the right calls, but I wasn't patient, or I wasn't like exiting them at the right time, or I didn't get in at the right time. Like my analysis was correct. My calls were still spot on, but the energy I was going into them were not right. Something was off.
The timing wasn't there. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay. So I
in
know
and
exactly
out.
what you mean.
You know, like something was off. There's a disconnect.
I feel it. It's better just stay on cash, just not even trade. Because in the month of April, I traded very little.
Okay.
March, I barely made any trades. In the group, I would tell people, guys, patience. A lot of people didn't like that fact because they want to trade every day.
Yeah. And
now a lot of people have learned, people that have been with us for a long time. And in the month of May, we started in April, May, June, absolutely crushed it.
Yeah.
And in those 2 months, we made all the gains back for the last 3 months. Right. Every day they're, so many 1,000% plays in my stock life in the last 2 months. Like they're countless. It's not even one.
Yeah.
100% is like normal. People are not even happy with 100% no more.
Yeah.
And I tell them 100%, don't take them lightly. That's a big amount. That's a big jump, right?
Yeah.
But my stock life, our guys are a little spoiled, right? And
I see them a lot. Yeah. I see these $1,000. I mean, it gets me to thinking, it's like, is my 100% trades even good enough?
It's good.
You know,
it happens. I mean, T and LB absolutely crushed it this month. T came with some crazy setups, which he nailed. LB, he comes out trades out of nowhere.
Yeah,
right.
Does.
And then we have a lot of members, so many to name. Right? I do want to give them some shout outs, but they're just absolutely killing it.
Yeah. May I add one thing that I forgot? It was another thing that I was doing it on my own during those like rough months.
Yes.
where I wasn't listening. I wasn't like, I had this amazing access to my stock life, and I wanted to still do it by myself. And it wasn't until I humbled myself. I was like, this game is just way too hard to do this by myself. Like, I gotta share.
You gotta share. You gotta have a team. I mean, we have, I think 15 people in the team here just handling things, which is And still, sometimes we I mean, for this podcast alone, I mean, Matt, Coleman, Hugs, it took them 1 hour just to set this up.
Absolutely.
And now they're gonna do editing and whatnot. But Tony, the last thing that I do want to ask now, a little tip for our listeners: Chinese stocks are down a lot right now for the year. Yeah. They're not green.
Yeah.
I am loaded in JD and Baba. I mean, anything can happen. Who knows? We haven't seen the market. Maybe they can go much lower.
You did well on JD, right?
But 2 weeks ago, I actually lost big. I had a big position in JD. Okay. But I recovered with Amazon Shop, Baba. I recovered.
That was a timing thing, right?
Yeah, it was just timing. But JD, I do have leaps, which are looking great.
Great.
What do you think of the Chinese market right now? I mean, just give me a little opinion, because we're doing a lot of Chinese names trades right now. What do you think of the Chinese market in the coming months?
I mean, I'm a macro guy. I'm not a micro guy. Okay. But I'll give you my perspective on macro. Macro is the pendulum always swings in the other direction. Okay. So what that means is everything is cyclical. If Chinese stocks has not been in the green, especially this year, it's a great time to consider some of these stocks, right? It's going down. It's going to eventually start coming up. So I believe in things that are cyclical, and because you mentioned that, there's also some like interesting things going on in the economy, and also with the new variant, with the Delta variant, that could make some interesting things happen in the future. But I can't predict it. But it's a great time to buy.
But I know last time we bought Beaky. Right, our options went up huge.
That's right.
And the funny thing is, I only sold some, but I never sold all of them. So I kind of just broke even on the trade. Okay. I think they went from 6 to like 15 or something, which was good. And now you bought Beaky again.
Yeah.
So last tip for Beaky, why did you buy Beaky? Just
the chart. It's a good chart. Yeah, okay. And I like its volatility. I really, really, really like its volatility. But for me, what I am gonna talk more into is also looking into energy. I think energy is a similar sector.
I think I like energy. I'm actually, I covered in the pre-market trade as well. I'm looking to buy some oil stocks for the coming weeks.
Yeah.
We T-called our PBR not too long ago. We nailed it. We took our profits. I wish I held. It went up a lot higher.
Yeah.
But one ticker that I am looking at is OIH. If you're listening, OIH, right? So keep an eye on that one for the coming months. And so guys, from this podcast, I hope you guys learned many things. Mainly Tony shared a lot of things with you guys, how to control your emotions, his own personal experience, and just himself, how he handles his trades and positions. So I hope that helps, and a lot of you guys are doing amazing in the group. Keep it up. So many of you went from premium to diamond. Congrats. That's your hard work. And we love you guys, and we'll see you guys again on the next one.
Anything, Tony, for
a tip? Yeah, I mean,
just like for like a closing out.
Closing out,
yeah. Just to close out, I mean, things that I would say should be on your stocks that you're following is TEAM, TEAM, and also speaking into the energy sector, I just bought some calls on fuel cells. So looking at October, check that out.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll come back with another bang next week. Let's see who. LB's coming back, but he's not going to be back. Okay, maybe we'll do a podcast with him. I don't know. But we'll have someone else exciting next week. Let's see who it is. See you guys.
Ciao.